Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. It's Alissa Coram here. I'm joined by Ed Carson. Hope you all had a nice holiday weekend. And today we're going to be taking a look at a very strong day in the market and three leaderboard stocks that were actionable today, Ed.
Yes, Alibaba, Dexcom, and Chipotle, which are also our three most recent stock of the day selections.
Yeah.
They all cleared buy points today, and it was, yeah, as you say, a very strong day.
Yes, let's take a look at the major indexes. This is the NASDAQ here, gaining about 2.2% for the day, leading the market. The Dow also up about 1.8%, the S&P 500 up 1.6%. So really just adding to the strong gains that we saw last week feels pretty unstoppable here. I mean, it's been just a very picture-perfect rally.
Absolutely, it's pretty amazing. We kept on thinking it's got to pause, it's got to pause, but honestly, the Nasdaq really hasn't even had two down days in a row for several months now, I believe. I mean, or actually not since maybe early May. It's just been that kind of rally. It is getting near the top of its trend lines. You could probably say at channel lines. You sort of see the rate of ascent there. You would have expected it to slow down by now, but instead we're just cruising along. The spiders are a little bit different, or the S&P 500 is a little different. But what's interesting about that is that this one, as Mike Webster is saying on IBD Live, is sort of breaking out, at least early on, from this little consolidation. So you can say, well, this has room to run. But a lot of the companies in the S&P 500 don't really have earnings. They were really hit hard. And it's not like airlines, people are going to may take years for airlines to come back. It may take years, if ever, for the shale companies to come back. I mean, so, these stocks aren't as extended, but there's also a reason why they're not as extended.
Right. Well, speaking of extended, with the NASDAQ just seeing the strong gains that it has, I think that leads a lot of investors to wonder, well, are we due for a pullback? Could we be due for a pullback? But a lot of top growth stocks are presenting themselves as being actionable still. So let's take a look at a couple of those, starting off with Alibaba with a nice breakout into new high ground today, gaining over 7% above average volume, breaking out over this consolidation that it's been forming for quite some time. So really nice to see it in new high ground, with it being one of our long-term leaders finally punching into new high ground.
Yeah, absolutely. This one had several times tried to break over trend lines, early buy points, this and that. It kept on failing while a lot of other Chinese e-commerce and China stocks did well. Looks like it's really powerful here. It was a great day for China stocks in general. The Shanghai Composite rose well more than 5% on Monday. There was a lot of bullishness, like state media basically saying buy. I mean, that's basically what it came down to. So this is nice. The relative strength line is, I would say, as a weakness. Wouldn't you say, Ali?
Yeah, definitely. We had it, like you said, it was lagging a lot of its peers, but it's now finally clearing a short-term high there. So that's good to see. But you're right, that is definitely something that investors may want to consider when you're looking at the grand scheme of things here with Alibaba. We'll just quickly flip on over to the monthly chart. I mean, you could say that it's really only kept pace with the market, but it is at new high ground, and we know that it has a lot of strong institutional sponsorship. In today's gain, I really like that it had such strong volume and it was able to close at the top of its range, and it's still within that 5% buy zone, which is a good sign there. All right, well, moving on, let's take a look at Dexcom, yet another recent stock of the day, gaining almost 4% at breaking out of this cup with handle. Now, Dexcom, I feel like is another one of those names that we've been talking about on IBD Live just almost day after day for the last couple of months. It's just been such a strong stock over the last couple of months. And if you like playing pullbacks, you could have played this pullback and the rebound off of the 50-day line, but it is now clearing a more traditional entry with this handle breakout here.
Yes, and one reason why we were talking about this is that it seems like it had been in pullbacks forever. It had kept on pulling back to the 50-day or 10-week line and finding support there. So it kept on saying, hey, is this a time to buy? And it often was. It's nice to see it finally moving over there. The RS line is at a short-term high, sort of like Alibaba. One reason why, you can even excuse this even more than Alibaba, because it had such a strong prior uptrend for the RS line. I mean, okay, it paused for a little while the market was running up, but every stock needs to take a break. But this one's clearly been doing well, got some strong growth. You can look at those numbers down there, really strong earnings growth, sales growth. So
yeah, and speaking of that, I mean, earnings season is about to kick off, but we do, it looks like here, potentially have enough time to build some cushion with this name before its earnings report. You don't want to be buying right ahead of an earnings report, but investors could potentially be building enough cushion here. Only time will tell, though.
That's right.
And last but not least, let's check in on Chipotle, ticker CMG, offering a new entry here today with a breakout over this 1,087 level. And it was really trading tightly over the last couple of weeks here. The depth of this base is only 11%. So a really nice tight base, which is good to see because it did sell off really hard during the crash, but boy, has it just gone gangbusters in this rally.
Yeah, and sometimes you'll see a stock have these really deep bases and you go, well, maybe I don't want to be part of that because it's just a little bit riskier. This one broke out around 909, 910, and it did fine. But now if you wanted to say, well, I'm not going to buy that, it's too risky, you could also say, well, I'm going to buy here at this flatter base. That can happen sometimes. This, much shallower, much tighter, as you were saying. And the RS line is near record highs. It had really a pretty impressive growth and pretty impressive results in the last quarter, given that, it had to shut down all its sit down and, really this isn't like Wingstop or Domino's where it's like, who cares if our sit down is shut down? Not who cares, but, it's more along that mindset. So they did really well during the coronavirus crisis, and presumably they're getting really strong growth right now.
Yeah, and I think they're trying to entice more people to do the takeout or even get delivery. And the forward looking estimates look nice with a nice pickup in earnings next year. We will get earnings in a couple of weeks, so we'll have to see if management provides any color, like you said, on how things are going with the coronavirus recovery. All right. Well, that is it for today, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. And just to reiterate, those are 3 leaderboard stocks, but they were also 3 of our recent stocks of the day. So that is just such a great feature on investors.com to take advantage of. And not only can you find those articles on investors.com, but if you have the IBD app on your phone, we send out an alert every day when that article is published, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, and we really try to focus on the actionable stocks that are in buy zones or really close, especially in times like this when the market's so strong. But if you want to learn more about Leaderboard, I mean, we're going to be talking more about Leaderboard, I believe, tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow we have our monthly Leaderboard scorecard webinar. It is at 1:30 p.m. Pacific. So if you are a Leaderboard member, make sure you tune into that. But if you haven't checked out Leaderboard, maybe potentially a good time to take a trial, check into the scorecard, see what it's all about. We're definitely going to be breaking down all of the big movers that we've seen, names coming on. And it's definitely been a market where we're seeing a lot more names, I feel like, come on Leaderboard, than being trimmed or taken off even. It's a long Leaderboard these days.
I think they've really done a great job in trying to think about how can we hold them and be disciplined and cut them when necessary, but not cut them too quickly. I think they've really done a good job, and I think that subscribers will really get more insight into why these are being picked and why they're being held and so on.
Yeah, so for tomorrow's webinar, for all the details on that, make sure you go to investors.com/webinar. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.